Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to the December 2nd meeting of Lorain County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Moore commented that I was all in black, and I told him I was in mourning for Michigan. I found this in my office today, and I thought it looked pretty nice since I didn't have any red on. So I thought maybe we could just put this down here. I'm not giving it to you. Put this down here.
Why would you do something like that?
I have this for you.
Oh, man.
That you could put this in your Hummer.
Oh, man.
Isn't that? And that's from Chuck Blair.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
This must be what they call humble pie. Was there a game a couple weeks ago?
I think there was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I told everybody nobody picked on me until a half hour driving my Humvee around town. I saw a big poster on the front of it about 6 feet wide saying go OSU, so I guess they did get me again this year. I just didn't know about it. Thank you for the gift.
Oh, you're welcome. Madam Clerk?
There's a proclamation to be
my
given to
back
Sheriff's Demeti, Captain Resendez,
Sorry.
You're supposed to wear it on your tie.
Okay, sorry.
and the United States Marshal for the Northern District to Ohio for Lasso.
Would you like me to read it?
If that's your
Or
pleasure.
you just want to have it? This is in the matter of joining and honoring the joint efforts in Operation Lasso, which is Lorain Appreciation Search and Seizure Operations in Lorain County. I think we haven't heard a lot about this, so I'll just read this if you don't mind, and then we'll give it to the sheriff. It says, whereas on August 2nd, 2004, members of the United States Marshals Services Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force, the Lorain County Sheriff's Office, Ohio Adult Parole Authority, the police departments of Amherst, Avon Lake, Elyria, Kipton, Lorain, North Ridgeville, South Amherst, and Vermillion joined efforts in Operation Lasso, and whereas Operation Lasso's mission was to apprehend fugitive felons that may be located inside Lorain County or wanted by authorities in Lorain County and be located elsewhere, and whereas the operation began on Monday, August 2nd and concluded on Friday, October the 1st, that 9-week period, 262 arrests were made. Included in the arrests were people charged with murder, obstructing justice, drug trafficking, assault, rape, domestic violence, weapons offenses, robbery, escape, and parole violations. And whereas these efforts were only through a total commitment from all participating agencies that this operation was a huge success. In addition, local officers and federal agents have developed a working relationship that will continue for years to come and will benefit the residents of Lorain County in providing the high standard of law enforcement that residents of this county expect. Now therefore it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Lorain County that we hereby express our sincere appreciation for Operation Lasso and the continued joint efforts of Lorain County Sheriff's Office and the United States Marshal for the Northern District to Ohio, along with the local efforts of the participating agencies in making Lorain County a safer place to live. And I would like to present this to Sheriff Demeti. Do we have someone else with you, Sheriff? Then you would introduce those other persons.
Wants to come up front there, Commissioner? Or?
Wherever you,
He's not used to being up here.
I'd like to introduce Captain Richard Resendez, my law enforcement director. This is Chief Deputy Dave Harlow from the U.S. Marshal's Office from Pete Elliott. And we want to thank the commissioners, obviously, for the proclamation. But obviously, this was an effort, I think, between, it shows you when federal and state and county and local governments work together, you know, to take 262 violent felons off the streets. And without the Marshal Service, and I'll tell you, we give all the credit to the men and women who are actually out there serving these warrants. from all the local police departments and everywhere else. And I believe Dave Harlow might have a couple words to say, but we want to thank them for their efforts in this thing, because it was, and we're going to be working some more down the road with Marshall's input too.
On behalf of Marshal Elliott, I thank this body for this recognition of the hard work that the men and women put into those 60 days. We can stand up here and collect the accolades, but it's the people that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and are out on the street at 6 o'clock and they're still working at midnight that really deserve recognition, and we appreciate that effort. And we certainly appreciate the cooperation of the Sheriff's Department here in Lorain County and the local law enforcement officers here in Lorain County, because we have a wonderful partnership and we plan on continuing it.
On behalf of the Chiefs Association and all the chiefs that participated in regards to this, we'd just like to stress that we take the attitude that because you may have committed a crime in a municipality and you cross that municipality into a county jurisdiction, and then you cross that county into a statewide jurisdiction, and that expands throughout the country, that just because you flee, we don't stop looking for you. And it's that cooperation that was present in this operation through the Marshal Service, the Sheriff's Office, and all the police departments in the county that was able to make this a huge success. So thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
At 10 o'clock and again at 10:30, there will be public hearings on the proposed vacation at Deer Run Road in Eden Township, and then at 10:30, Peasley Road in Brownhound Township. Under Resolutions, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Investments?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Appropriations?
So moved.
Second, with the exceptions of 21 and 45.
Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Transfers?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Advances and repayments?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Requisitions?
So moved.
Second, with exceptions of 2036, 1967, and 1969.
Would you do those again, please?
2036, 1967, and
No, I'm reading
1967.
2036.
1967.
Thank you.
That's when I was in kindergarten, you know. And
You don't
1969.
have, you don't have to be so insulting.
oh, okay. Still a little red.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye, with the exceptions.
Travel expenses?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the airport, authorize the reappointment of Dan Gross as a member of the Lorain County Airport Board. Said term is effective January 1st, 2005, or expiring December 31st, 2008.
So moved.
Commissioner Moore, I'm not going to second the motion, and it has nothing to do with the fact that, about Mr. Gross's service as a member of the board, but it has to do with the fact that we have two incoming commissioners who may wish to have a say in who the board member might be at the airport authority. And when you came in as a new commissioner, we tried to give you representation on the board, and I think it's only fair that we do the same to them.
I agree, except for the fact that, if you remember, I tried to dissolve the board.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Yep, and that didn't work. And the board was very gracious and compromising and adding 2 new board members, making it from 7 to 9. And then as everything started to work out, we went back to having 7 board members. There's 2 expirations and possibly a third, it looks like here. There's 4 board members that are going to be appointed next year. So they'll have ample opportunity to pick 4 new board members. So I believe Dan Gross has done a good job. It's one of those deals where I got private sector people involved in public office, and he'd like to serve another term. And I don't see why we cannot appoint one more person, or at least reappoint him, so.
And I will go back to my comment that it had nothing to do with his personal service. It has nothing to do with him personally.
Well, I think it's politics.
Well, you can call it what you will. I will just comment
The
that
only
there are
voter-
two,
the
please,
two
I'm
Republicans,
speaking,
okay.
let me finish, please.
Sorry.
Thank you. There are two members of the board that are called my appointments.
Correct.
And neither one of them was directly my first choice. They were someone else's choice before, and they came through a circumference route, and I've accepted them as my appointments. So
Yeah,
sometimes
well,
you
I've done
do that.
I've done that for 4 years.
Oh, it hasn't been so bad, has it?
Elizabeth Remix Oberlin. From attending the airport board meetings, I have seen that Mr. Gross does indeed seem to be a very responsible and thoughtful member of the board, and certainly there is no problem with that. My understanding is that each commissioner, and perhaps this is outdated, has 2 appointments. So if Mr. Moore is referring to 4 possible appointments coming up, 2 each to the new commissioners, it seems to me, would be the most appropriate response.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And for an outgoing commissioner to appoint one seems to me to be a bit of a lame duck sort of activity.
So the whole activity for the year was a lame duck. Thank you.
Motion died due to a lack of second. Under Commissioners, number 10, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of Lorain County Board of Commissioners.
Also move.
No second due to lack of second. Number 11, approve Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes and waive the reading of the same for August 19th and 22nd, 26th, October 7th, 14th, 20th, 21st, and 28th, and November 4th, 16th, and 18th, 2004.
Also move.
No second, died. Number 12, award bid to Gordon Food Service for food items to be supplied to Golden Acres Nursing Home and Lorain Medina Community-Based Correctional Facility for period January 1st, 2005 through June 30th, 2005. Bids were opened on November 12th, and this was the most responsive, complying with specifications.
Do we want to just conclude the meeting now?
Is that a motion?
It was a question to you as a commissioner.
No motion, no second? Number-
Is the 10 o'clock and 10:30 public hearing? There's people here for that. We can't wait. We have to wait till 10 and 10:30, don't we?
Number 13?
I don't mind waiting till 10 or 10:30. I'll come back for those 2 hearings.
What is the pleasure of the board? Do you want me to continue reading, or do you want to hold till 10 o'clock?
Well, there's not much going on.
I get nothing by Shirley.
I'll ask my question again, Commissioner Moore. I don't mind making motions to approve things, but there's no sense in my wasting my time and the board's time if you're not going to participate in the meeting.
Well, I'm participating. I'm just not going to support it, so if you want to...
How do you call that participating if you're not going to support any of the businesses before you, with all due respect?
Then fine, we'll move to, not adjourn, but,
Is that a motion to adjourn? For a
Yep.
second? Okay, died due to lack of second. Number 13, approve change order number 1 to SM Fox Construction, Inc., Elyria, in the total credit amount of $2,370 for the interior alterations to Lorain County Courthouse for adult probation. Change order will omit the removal of the carpet, suspend ceiling height, and omit floor drain, clean out, and floor cutting and patching.
Also move.
No second. Died. Approve change order number 1 to Trisco Systems, Inc., Lima, Ohio, in the amount of $4,468 for additional work required on the exterior of Lorain County Courthouse. Change order will include resetting sandstone at north elevation, upper southwest, southeast, and northeast corners of building, and install plexiglass on north elevation round window and miscellaneous spot pointing.
So moved.
No second, died. Approve and enter an agreement with Lowenstein Durant Architect, Cleveland, Ohio, in the amount of $492,300, which includes reimbursables to perform architectural services for Lorain County Transportation Center. This project will consist of 6 phases that are interchangeable and will only be implemented upon approval of the county administrator. This will be paid from account 40006-0201-491501 Q Construction Transportation.
Also moved.
I'll second that one.
Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Approve and enter into contracts with City of Sheffield Lake, Village of Sheffield, and Wellington, and Lorain Port Authority to be part of Lorain County's health care effective January 1st, 2005, expiring December 31st, 2007.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Commissioners, if I may, I need to move back to 15 because I needed a modification to the resolution, and I didn't think I was going to get approval of that resolution, so I didn't add it. I'll pass this to the President. We need to authorize in advance. We're going to get reimbursed from federal dollars on that project, so none of this money is local, but we do need to advance the money to do the project. And I apologize. I just didn't think it was going to be approved. Sorry.
Do we need to advance the entire amount?
Yeah, it just needs to have funds availability so that we can enter into the contract. I would advance the whole amount for funds availability. Once again, it's an advance. 100% of this is coming back to the county.
Also moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under the Community Development Department, authorize Lorain County Community Development Department to make payment to the County of Lorain based on the maximum allocated cost by department report period on March 17, 2004. FY03, account 12603-2501-490101, $12,200.51. CHIP CDBG, account 22403.2501-490101, $12,251. Revolving Loan Fund, the Trust Department, $12,200.51. LAMP, count 12701-2501-490101, $8,134.65. LAMP, count 12702-2501-490101, $8,134.65. And LAMP, count 12703-2501-490101, $8,134.66.
So moved.
No second, died. 18, award a change order to Geisel Heating, Inc., Elyria, in the amount of $297 for additional emergency home repair assistance for Bethel Lumpkin at 803 West Drive, Sheffield Lake, Ohio. Resolution 04-778 approved the replacement of a furnace and hot water heater in the amount of $6,402, and the additional money needed is to change the hot water tank shutoff valve and repair an open cavity near the furnace to avoid sewer gas and carbon monoxide exposure. This will be paid from account 12603-2501-450422 CDBG fiscal 2003 emergency home repair activity.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
19, approve FY 2004 Small Cities Formula Grant Agreement in the amount of $448,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize the creation of Fund 258 Atrazine Grant Program. Said fund will recognize federal grant receipts for Lorain County Atrazine Use and Reduction Outreach Program to be monitored by Lorain County Economic Development Department. A temporary advance in the amount of $20,000 and the appropriation thereof is also hereby granted and approved. Said advance will be repaid immediately upon receipt of the federal EPA funds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under Emergency Management and Homeland Security, instruct the clerk to advertise for bids for 3 generators for the Health Department of Lorain County, Lorain City, and Elyria City. This notice will be published in the Chronicle Telegram on December 3rd and 10th, and bids to be open at 2 p.m. in the Commissioners' back conference room on December 17th. These generators will be paid from the Homeland Security funds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under Job and Family, approve and enter into various child care contracts with licensed child care providers effective January 1st, 2005 through December 31st, 2005. The maximum amount reimbursed for a child enrolled in a child care center is based on state reimbursement ceilings, which are set for the age of the child and the amount the child attends the center. Authorize the Director of Job and Families to execute on behalf of the Board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
So moved.
No second. Died. 23, approve and enter into maintenance plan contract for the Windows version of the program Expenditures Tracking System for the calendar year 2005 at a cost of $1,900. This will be paid from account 20501-0903-450101 Contract Services.
So moved.
No second. Died. Authorize various personnel within Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services to utilize various credit card privileges for the year 2005. Employees will be listed in the resolution.
So moved.
No second. Died. Under Transit, authorize RLS and Associates, Inc., Dayton, Ohio, to implement Phase 1 service modifications for Lorain County Transit. The recommendation for Tier 1 service modification to LCT fixed route bus service includes weekday starting time for LCT routes should be changed from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Early trips will be eliminated on routes 1, 2, 3, 21, 31, 41, 51, 52, and 53. Eliminate evening trips on Route 3. Eliminate Saturday service on Route 11. Eliminate Sunday service on routes 31 and 51. These changes are designed to result in cost savings, but with a minor impact on current ridership, and the cost savings will be $208,462.
So moved.
Died due to lack of second. Children's Services, authorize various additions and deletions of the LCC employees to utilize the Shell Oil Gasoline Credit Card not to exceed $200 and the agency's MasterCard not to exceed $2,500 for the year 2004. Study usages to purchase gas, oil, and emergency motor vehicle repair for county-owned or leased vehicles.
So moved.
No second. Died. Under Domestic Relations, approve Lorain County Domestic Relations Court to request funding in the amount of $25,000 from the Stocker Foundation. This funding will provide for a full-time case manager to be utilized by the Success for Youth program, and there is no local cash match required.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize the creation of Fund 259 AIM program. Said fund will be used to capture all fiscal activity associated with the Bryan Memorial AIM grant.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under the engineer, authorize various applications to OPWC for Lorain County Engineers Department for various projects in Lorain County, and authorize county engineer to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form. 1, Capel Road Signalization Project, total cost is $68,600. The request was $34,300. Oberlin Elaria Road Rehabilitation, $895,000 total cost. Request was $264,426. 2005 Bridge Program, $221,000. Request was $188,000 with 0% 20-year loan. Columbia West River Road Wastewater Treatment Plant, $144,238. Request was $85,100. Plum Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant was $367,312. Request was $216,891. And Clearview Subdivision Wastewater was $124,362. The request was $110,862.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under the prosecutor, authorize county prosecutor's office to take necessary steps in order to collect restitution from Mr. Richmond in the amount of $974.39 with interest rate of 10% in costs relating to an accident that occurred on June 14, 2004 with the Charles Berry Baskel Bridge.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under the Sheriff, approve various contracts on behalf of Lorain County Sheriff. 1, Columbia Township Extra Police Protection for weekends effective January 1st, 2005 through December 31st, 2008. County will be reimbursed at $20 per hour and 50 cents per mile. Licata, effective retroactive to November 1st, 2004 through September 30th, 2007. Licata will provide counseling once a week for an hour for 10 male inmates and 10 female inmates at an hourly counseling fee of $12 per hour. Stephen Campbell and Associates, maintenance for the dispatch telephone equipment and radio transmission equipment, effective January 1st, 2005 through December 31st, 2005, at an annual cost of $6,570. And acknowledge the Mexican identification card, I'm not sure how to really pronounce all this, Matricula Consular, as a form of personal identification to be used in Lorain County for those persons who qualify for said status for the purpose of conducting business within any county department. This is due to the significant Hispanic population and Mexican nationals having a hard time cashing checks because of lack of proper identification.
Sheriff, do you have comments that you wish to make?
Yes, Commissioners. Sheriff Phil Stometi. On number 3, Stephen Campbell Associates, I don't know if that's a typo error, but we did ask for a 3-year contract. It should have been January 2005 through December of 2008.
The same dollar amount?
Yes, same dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it? Other comments?
No, unless you had anything else for me.
Okay. I'll move for approval.
Second?
Discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
It is like 10:01. Would you like to do the first
Yes, we're
vacation,
done.
or do you want to do the rest of the agenda real quick?
No, let's go.
Public hearing on the proposed vacation at Deer Run Road in Eaton Township. I guess I'll read that, just let me get my stuff. Public hearing on the proposed vacation of portion of Eagle Nest Drive from east right-of-way line of Deer Run Drive to easterly boundary of Flint Ridge Subdivision Number 3, Eaton Township, Lorain County, Ohio. The original petition was adopted by Resolution 04-631 on August 26, 2004 to set up the viewing and hearing. Due to procedural purposes and dates that need to be established in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, Resolution number 04-657 adopted on September 9th was rescinded. Petition for a portion of Eagle Nest Drive from east right-of-way line of Deer Run Road to the easterly boundary of Flint Ridge Number 3, Eaton Township, Lorain County, Ohio, was refiled on September 15th. This petition was forwarded to the county engineer for review, and by letter dated October 5th, the engineer indicated the petition and map appeared to be sufficient. While the signatures and information appear to be from 2002, there are enough current owners listed to satisfy the requirements. He also stated that it is common practice of the Planning Commission to require stubs for future use in the cul-de-sac length exceeds the maximum length. The stubs are used for looping future roads and providing future second access for safety forces. This should be considered before vacating these stubs. Resolution number 04-737 adopted October 14th accepted the petition and provided for this public hearing. A notice to vacate was published in the Chronicle Telegram on October 21st and 28th. Notices were sent to the clerk of the Eaton Township and the 3 property owners. The viewing was held on Wednesday, November 10th at 10 a.m. Notices were also forwarded to public utilities, but no response has been received from Altel, Columbia Gas Ohio, Lorain County Rural Water Authority, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, or Lorain Medina Rural Electric Co-op, Inc., relating to the easement. But on October 20th, 2004, Matt from Ohio Edison said there are no facilities on the right-of-way, but has facilities across the paper street and would need an easement if this is vacated. October 29th, Ronald F. Twining, Director, Lorain County Development Department, respectively submitted a letter concerning the proposed vacation, and comments made in letter are being as my staff comments as have been presented and supported by the County Planning Commission. Since 1999, the CPC has repeatedly expressed their concern to county staff that single-point ingress and egress cul-de-sac developments are a safety concern. The CPC has felt that long cul-de-sacs with only one entrance or exits can easily be compromised during an emergency situation. A fallen tree, vehicle accident, fire, or damage from a natural event such as a tornado could prevent needed rescue or emergency crew access to and from several homes. While rescuers are trained to work in adverse conditions, the CPC has been concerned that they are not approved subdivision cul-de-sac that exacerbate a potential disaster. It has been the position of the CPC to provide a dedicated right-of-way to the subdivision boundary line of proposed streets. These reserved right-of-ways do not have to include more than 50 feet of pavement at the intersection. By utilizing the reserved right-of-way from the first subdivision, the developer or adjoining subdivision can greatly enhance the safety for the residents to both subdivisions. This connection or link will provide a secondary means of access to and from both subdivisions. In May of 2002, CPC asked the Board of Commissioners to amend the county subdivision regulations to restrict the length of cul-de-sacs based on density and to require substreets with dedicated right-of-ways for future street extensions at the time the subdivision was platted. The new regulations have been implemented since June of 2002. Flint Ridge was a subdivision approved in Eaton Township by the City of Valeria when it had 3-mile jurisdiction. The city required this future street extension as a means allowing access to and from Flint Ridge and Durkee Road. It has an excellent safety issue for the residents. As staff support to the County Planning Commission, I would be remiss if I did not share with the Board of Commissioners the safety concern. The CPC has repeatedly asked and has required developers since 2002 to provide dedicated right-of-ways on cul-de-sacs with a single point of ingress and egress. This vacation request of Flint Ridge subdivision in Eaton Township appears to be similar to the many subdivisions that have now been required to provide a right-of-way for secondary access to a subdivision once adjoining property is developed. I recommended that the Board of Commissioners not vacate this identified Eagle Nest Drive street extension. While there is no requirement that this extension has to be used, it would constitute poor planning to eliminate this right-of-way. The extending right-of-way may be the key component of the future safe road network. And also this morning I received a letter from Mr. Denby. Would you like that to be read? I did give everybody copies of it, but
We have copies of it. Mr. Demby can,
correct.
is he here? Is Bob Demby here?
I don't see him.
Okay. At this time, I would like anyone who wishes to comment to stand to be sworn by Assistant County Prosecutor Bob Flanagan. Any resident who wishes to comment also.
Is that everybody? Do you all swear or affirm that the evidence and testimony you're about to give at this public hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
John Hamilton, are you speaking for the engineer's office this morning?
Yes, if there's any questions.
You have no statement to make? Wayne, I assume you have none either. Thank you. The next item on my agenda is the trustees. If they have a comment, Ernie, are you speaking on behalf of the trustees?
Most honorable commissioners and citizens, when this was originally installed, this part of a development, our fire chief was very adamant about having another access to the area. If there is any type of a accident or a blockage on the one entrance on Route 57, if it was a fire or anything, for prevailing winds would carry it to the development. To evacuate the people would have to be over the farmlands or the creek going north to get to a street. At that time, the fire chief was very concerned about this. Fortunately, Mr. Demby Sr., in his foresightedness, was one of the original people that really pushed for these stub streets. And that was a very good thing. There's a lot of ifs here. The people are concerned about traffic, but number one, the property that this street goes into would have to be sold, which it hasn't been. Then a developer would have to go to Planning Commission with a plan showing a connecting street going into that stub street. There's two residents of the development that are on the Planning Commission at the time. I don't know whether such a street could ever be approved by the Planning Commission. The other point is that with stop signs, traffic is readily controlled. I mean, it's proven everywhere. If you look at the map of this street and the area, they're concerned about people cutting through from Durkee Road, but it would be a very difficult thing to go through if this development was ever built, an additional development, you would have to go through that development, stopping at all the stop streets, and then go through Flint Ridge where you could put in additional stop streets. And then to try to get out on 57, you're going south actually to try to go north. I think the people that would benefit the most from a street, if it was ever put in here, would be the citizens themselves, because in their access to the Midview school system, which they are a member of, it would be much easier to cut across through this development, if one is ever put in, to get to the schools than to try to go out. It is very hazardous getting out on 57 right now. I can't see that anybody would ever want to try to take a shortcut and try to go out through 57. And as I said, I think the citizens would be the recipients of any access that would be there, because at the present time, it's very difficult to get fire equipment in. They don't have adequate fire hydrants in the area. And so that means all the water, in case of a fire, has to be transported in by tanker trucks. And with one entrance, one exit, I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernie. Is there any other trustee who wish to make a comment? Are there any property owners who are in favor of this vacation? If you state your name, sir, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gene Spampke, Township Trustee.
I'm sorry, we're still working on the trustees. I apologize.
Okay. It is actually, the majority of us trustees are in favor of not doing anything with that sub-street. This has been an ongoing thing. Every couple of years this thing comes up, wanting to vacate it, and I think Mr. Walker pretty well covered everything that, and the reason why we want to leave it there. I don't know, it's about the holiday season, and some of the people up there really decorate their homes. You talk about a bottleneck, you ask the Sheriff's Department about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Any property owners in favor of the vacation? Yes, sir. Just come to the microphone and state your name, please.
My name is Richard Mongello, President of Phase 3 of the Homeowners Association. We have tried to vacate this parcel in 1996 and also 2002. We have many residents that signed a petition to vacate it. Now, our concern would be with the traffic that would generate from Durkee to 57, where we feel it would be approximately 3,000 cars a day. Our subdivision has no street lights, no curbs, no sidewalks, and the road width is only 22 feet wide. We feel this development would greatly hinder our subdivision. And you also have a letter from, excuse me with the cold, Mr. Bob Demby, which elaborates on these points.
Thank you, Mr. Mangello. And Mr. Demby did submit a 3-page letter outlining his support for vacation, and we'll include it in part of the record. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to speak.
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Carly Mahajan. I live at the end of Deer Run Drive. And Mr. Walker has said that there is not any thing in the works as far as developing the land that is adjacent to this right-of-way or this easement. And I would like to take pause with that, because there have been surveyors back on Mr. Yeager's property just a couple weeks ago that have been surveying that land to actually be parceled off. So therefore, that means that land is actually being looked at for development, and his premise by saying that it is not going to be used, I really have a question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me. Hello, my name's Paul Rickey. I'm actually one of the adjacent property owners as well. The one point I want to make is that Mr. Walker keeps stressing this doomsday scenario, but yet he fails. He's going to put everyone that lives on that street or in that subdivision at jeopardy every day with, excuse me, with increased traffic. He's worried about the once-in-a-million scenario of a chemical spill at the front of the subdivision and somebody has a heart attack. Well, I'm worried about my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old on that street. I'm worried about the neighbors that are walking their dogs. That street was put in approximately 1988 or 1989. 22-foot wide street. No sidewalks, no curbs, no streetlights. They keep harping on this post-2002 standards. That street was never designed to accept the traffic that could come with this. Mr. Walker loves talking about street stop signs. As far as I know, he's not a traffic engineer. He knows nothing about traffic flow. He's uneducated to make those type of statements. What I'm concerned about is people are back there, they use the street because there is no sidewalks. If a through street were to come through, serious changes would have to be made, i.e. curbs, i.e. sidewalks, i.e. streetlights. I don't see anybody stepping forward to say, hey, we'll flip the bill for that. What you're going to do is try to put a through street in a subdivision that was never designed for it, was designed 15 years ago as a modest traffic count type of subdivision, and that you're going to inject this 2002 standards, but yet you're not going to bring any of the other 2002 standards along with it. You can't have one without the other. You're going to jeopardize the health and well-being of everybody that lives back there every day for this doomsday scenario. And I think that's just, it's ridiculous. I mean, you're going to kill 3 kids in the next 50 years for the one chance in hell that you're going to have a chemical spill at the front of the subdivision. I don't see the logic to this.
Thank you, Mr. Rickey. Anyone else in favor of the vacation of this street? Next, we would hear from anyone who is opposed to the vacation of this street, if there's anyone in the audience opposed to the vacation. Anyone who wants to comment on this issue at all? Yeah, John Hamilton?
I'm John Hamilton, Assistant County Engineer. At the viewing, the subject came up of maintaining the right-of-way and keeping it as an emergency access only, and it seemed like the township and even the property owners were in favor of that. I don't know quite how we would do that if, if the Planning Commission could pass a resolution that that stub only be used as an emergency street in the future, or if it could be part of your resolution today. But maybe, I don't know, Bob can answer that or not, if there's some way to indicate that that right-of-way may be maintained, but only as an emergency access. So you, in other words, you'd build the road with, enough stone underneath to support the fire equipment or sheriff's department coming through, but it would be grassed over, so it would be a permanent type street anyway.
Bob, do you have any comments on that?
The petition that was filed by the property owners was to vacate. I don't think the petition that was filed by the property owners was a petition to vacate. I don't think this board would have any authority to do anything other than make a decision to vacate and grant the petition or deny the petition. I don't think there can be some type of hybrid resolution in the context of this proceeding.
Mr. Twining, have you had any experience with an issue such as this through the Planning Commission?
When you say with this, are you talking about Mr. Hamilton's proposal?
Yes.
Or,
yes.
Not with the county, but certainly if it's so directed through the county administrator by this board that we make note of that and take that into serious consideration at the time a subdivision, if one is ever proposed on Mr. Yeager's property, we would implement that as due course. The only comment that I would make from the Planning Commission standpoint in our letter in opposition to this, our issue is we're not talking about a road right now. We are only talking about whether to vacate the right-of-way as it was originally approved, or whether we should preserve that right-of-way if it's ever needed in the future, or when it might be needed in the future. We're not talking about putting a road in to the property line edge or anything like that as far as we know. It's just whether to preserve that right-of-way as it has been since the subdivision was first approved by the city of Elyria in Eaton Township, or whether to vacate that so that land would not be available or accessible for any future use to the public in terms of either utilities or public roadways.
Thank you, Ron. Commissioner Moore, do you have questions or comments? I did note on the form that Teresa, the clerk, read earlier that Ohio Edison said that there are no facilities on the right-of-way, but they have facilities across the paper street and would need an easement if this were vacated. I'm interested in the concept that Mr. Hamilton spoke about because it would serve a couple of purposes. It would answer the concern that the township has about providing fire service to the area from a second access point. And it might serve some of the residents' concern about making this a through street. I am not in favor of vacating it outright.
Which I'm in favor of vacating it outright. So,
Well, would you
my
want-
concern is, I like the concept, but what I've seen in other subdivisions is that in order to stop kids from taking shortcuts, you have to put a wire up to stop that, and there goes your safety concerns. I think there's a lot of valid points here. I don't think anything's going to happen for years, but since I've been up here, we've had to deal with issues from 20 years ago that nobody would deal with. So I'm in favor of vacating.
Well, having said that,
Commissioner Blair's in favor of not, so.
at the bottom of our sheet, it said the board does not have to take action at this hearing. The statute indicates that a decision must be made in a reasonable length of time. We have a third commissioner who is absent today. We could bring this issue forward next week when Commissioner Vacy is expected to be here, and she was also present at the viewing, and we find how she feels about the situation. At the same time, perhaps you could just research your opinion to make sure that
There's no hybrid.
there's no hybrid, so that we would know if in fact there's any part of it that we could draw from, okay? Does anybody else wish to say anything? Well, that would be my next question. Should we close the public hearing, or should we continue until next week? I think we should close the public hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay, I move we close this public hearing.
Second?
Further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
And we will make a decision at a later date. The clerk will carry this on the agenda for next Thursday's meeting. And perhaps we can come to a decision. And Bob, you have a question?
Just so I'm clear, the specific issue the commissioners would like research would be whether or not this board, and so chooses, can vacate the paper street, but put a restriction,
I think we want to,
some type of access road.
I think we want to amend the petition. I think that's about as simple as we can make it, right?
Is that your understanding of how it would be handled, John?
Can we amend?
Through the discussion?
Can we amend the
The petition
All right.
and limit the public
correct.
use of this proposed road for emergency purposes only?
Is that Okay. All right. Ernie, you have a question?
May I make one comment on that?
Certainly.
That development is unique in one.
Well, come to the microphone, please.
That development is unique in one perspective, that the property line of each of the individual homeowners only goes to the road right-of-way. There's a 60-foot road right-of-way, and that belongs to Eaton Township. I'm not sure the commissioners have the authority to give away land that belongs to the citizens of Eaton Township.
That's what Bob's gonna look up.
That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, so you can look that up too.
We'll incorporate that also.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Yes, sir? Would you come to the microphone?
Name's William Sellers. I'm an Eden, Flint Ridge resident also. And it's funny, Mr. Walker talks about that's his land, but he's never did anything to this land. The two people that are asking and have asked all of us to come and express our opinions have been maintaining this property, okay, since they've moved there. And they've asked them several times to, even our subdivision entryway, they per se own, but we're the ones that pay to mow it, okay, and maintain it. And I just think it's real funny of him acting like he's real concerned about this when he's really not. Whenever we have any types of problems in the subdivision, we go to them and they put everybody in that subdivision like they're above everybody in Eden Township. We're not above anybody. We're just concerned about our families. So I think that he should do his job and be concerned about us, because that's the only reason we're here.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you for coming today, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier, this item will be carried on next week's agenda for a decision, if we can have two commissioners that would agree, one way or the other. Okay? Now we can move on to the next public hearing.
Not specifically 10:30 yet.
Oh, it is, oh, see, it is on my watch, because I'm 5 minutes past, that way I won't be late for anything.
You want to do Mr. Cordes, County Administrator? Got anything?
I have one thing this morning. On behalf of the Lorain County Port Authority, myself and Mr. Twining, I want to thank the board for the action they took with the Lucas Toledo Port Authority 2 weeks ago. I would like to report to you that we reached a successful negotiation with them, whereby our fledgling Port Authority was able to enter into a revenue sharing agreement on the new project in Avon, so that they will be able to reach self-sufficiency a lot faster. The deal should net about $350,000 over the life of the notes for the Port Authority. And it was the aggressive action by this board and the support by this board that made it all possible. And I, again, want to thank the commissioners. That's the only comment I have this morning. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you. It wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been on top of things.
Mr. Flanagan, Assistant Prosecutor.
No reports this morning.
Thank you, Bob.
Commissioners, new business.
None.
Thursday, December 16, 2004 will be the Commissioners' last board meeting for 2004. And on Monday, January 10, 2005 at 9:30 a.m. will be the organizational meeting for the Board of 2005. Board correspondence.
I move your reading be waived.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Okay, now we'll go to our 10:30
All right.
annexation. Public hearing on the proposed vacation of portion of the Peasley Road, an existing road with a right-of-way of 60 and is located in original lots 61 and 68 of Brownhill Township from Vermillion Road to Portman Road, Lorain County, Ohio. Resolution number 03-540 adopted July 10, 2003, granted said vacation request and certified by County Auditor on July 31, 2003. On May 7, 2004, Alan J. Smith submitted a letter stating that resolution number 04-540 is void due to non-notification in accordance with ORC section 5553.05B. May 16, 2004, a fax was received from Brown Hill Township trustee Dane Lombard explaining the petition being submitted in 2003 and the one homeowner claiming he was not notified. Mr. Lineback discussed with Mr. Ennis this issue and states that Mr. Ennis feels that the process was carried out per the intent of the law, but in order to make all parties happy, this resolution will be rescinded and presented again. On October 4, 2004, the petition was refiled and forwarded to the county engineer for review. October 7th, resolution number 04-719, rescinded resolution 04-540 adopted May 7, 2003, granting the vacation of portion of Peasley Road in Brown Hill Township. October 14th, Lorain County Engineer states the description accurately describes the area to be vacated. The portion of the road request for vacation is already barricaded by Commissioner's Resolution number 61-462 due to the bridge over Chance Creek being out. Resolution number 03-761 adopted October 21st, 2004, accept the petition, provide a public hearing. That should be 04-761. A notice to vacate was published in the Morning Journal October 28th and November 4th. Notices were sent to the clerk of Brown Hill Township and the 4 property owners. The viewing was held on Wednesday, November 17, 2004 at 10 a.m. Notices were also forwarded to public utilities, but no response has been received from Columbia Gas, Ohio, Lorain Medina Rural Electric Co-op, Inc., Lorain County Rural Water Authority, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Ohio Edison, Alltel, and Century Tel relating to the easements. October 13, 2004, clerk said the parcel number indicated on the petition was incorrect, but the description is accurate. Township trustees submitted parcel 010068000008, and it should be 010068000006.
Thank you, Teresa. Again, anyone wishing to comment on this vacation, stand and be sworn in by the Assistant Prosecutor?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence and testimony you're about to give at this public hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. The Engineer's Office, Wayne Maletti.
I was at the viewing, and the one comment I had was brought up also by the township that we would put up a permanent barricade at the end and proper warning that the road is closed at that point. That's beyond the Metro Parks driveway for their parking lot. That's all I have.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
I guess Dan Martin is here, and I think I saw you stand up, so I guess that must mean you'd like to talk to us. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Martin, Lorain County Metro Parks. I obviously am just here to ask a question. I just want to, for the public record, ensure that the vacation is identical as originally submitted. And as long as as long as it's identical, the Park Board is still in favor of the vacation as previously approved.
Thank you, and I believe Teresa is
Correct,
indicating,
it
and
is.
the Engineer's Office as well, that it is identical.
Thank you very much.
And there was one other oh, you done?
Brought us something to show us.
Okay, and there was one other gentleman who stood, sir, to come to the microphone.
My name's Alan Smith. My brother and I, Jack Smith, own a piece of property on Peasley Road that abuts the Park Systems property. My dad purchased that property. My brother and I now own it. My dad purchased that, I think, back in the 50s. And there was a gate put up south, much south of the proposed vacation point, that had been there for, I think, since the early 60s. Now, my understanding, the gate was illegal, but it was there. And it kept vehicles from going back in that area. And I'm concerned about when this gate is, if this gate is removed, which I assume it will be, what's going to happen back at that property. I'm concerned about trash being dumped back there. I'm concerned about people who properly go onto the park property and then without some notification, if they come onto my property, if they're injured, what sort of liability is going to exist. And I'm really concerned about a lot of trash showing up back there when this is known. Currently, I don't think too many people know that this property is now owned by the park, but what's going to happen when it is known? So I'm quite concerned about that, and I think I don't know what's going to happen when that gate disappears. There was some discussions with one of the township trustees about erecting a gate further up the road, which sound interesting, but then the park people didn't seem to like that, and so that was apparently taken off the table. But I would like to have some sort of discussion with the park people about what we can do to somewhat restrict access to this area.
Can someone respond to some of Mr. Smith's concern? I'm not sure. I think probably the township's the one who erected the gate that you...
The original gate back in the... Yes, I think it was.
And Dan?
Commissioners, again, formally for the record, the request to change this came from the township trustees. It was not instituted by the Metro Parks. We were happy with the way it was. We will be happy with the change. All we as property owners have ever asked for is access to our property. Again, the people that should be standing here answering Mr. Smith's question should be the township trustees, not the Lorain County Metro Parks.
Well,
we are simply an adjoining property owner.
unfortunately, I don't see them here, and I thought you might be of assistance to us.
Sorry, I don't want to...
You're not going out with your hammer and putting that gate in, huh?
Our gate is on Metro Park property, ma'am.
Okay.
Where's the barricade the engineer's talking about? Is it on Vermillion Road? Where's the barricade you said? What's he talking about putting a barricade up?
There was two barricades. There was one placed just after the driveway to Metro Parks parking lot.
Okay.
And there was a further north one put up by the township, so he wouldn't go over the hill. And it was just a sawhorse. We wanted to get that permanent, proper warning so somebody didn't go over the cliff. And then
So Mr.
another
Smith-
comment, I think the original gate he was talking about was south, and township has paved the road up to these barricades with stone. So that has been removed. The old barricade, or the chain, that was removed.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's still there.
The chain's still there. But we drove right through that day.
Well, it's still, it's
Just hanging.
yeah.
This could be possibly a township issue if they're gonna remove that or not.
Okay. I was
So
just asking.
that's where we're at. Thank you.
John?
I think part of the problem was the township wanted to vacate to where the old gate was. If you vacated there, then you landlocked two parcels just north of there. So they moved the vacation up far enough where those properties would still have frontage, and they'd still be able to block the road up.
Okay.
But if you bring it back to where the old gate was, it landlocks those two parcels. Mike, was that your property?
Yes, but there was you mean formal vacation or putting up a barricade? Do you mean formal vacation, or are you speaking about a barricade?
Formal vacation.
Yeah, then that landlocks, yes.
And if they don't formally vacate it, then they really can't block it off south of there. I think that was their problem.
Except that it had been blocked off for 45, 50 years.
So are we landlocking your other parcel by vacating this, sir?
No, by vacating it, you're landlocking nothing, no.
If they went to the gate that he
The
was
gate
talking
that's
about,
there,
the
it
old
does,
it
that
wouldn't
gate has
landlock.
nothing to do with the vacation.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I ought not to say this, I suppose, but somebody from the prosecutor's office suggested that, well, we could consider opening the road up, but since it's not properly opened up, you, every couple of years, pass a resolution to, I'm not sure of the details, but you could have it continually blocked off as it is, but with the possibility of someday in the future opening it up, which I thought sounded pretty good. In other words, continue with the status quo that existed for 45, 50 years.
So are you in support of vacating this or not vacating this? Since it's your land?
I support what the individual from the county prosecutor suggested, not vacating it, with the continuing effort to quote-unquote reopen it, which, you know, so far has been going on for 45 years, and, you know, as far as I'm concerned, could go on for another 45 years.
Okay.
But reopen it, there is a tree down across there where the bridge is, and it would, if it were open and improved, it would require the installation of a bridge.
Right, but
at someone's expense, i.e. the county's.
Well, you could do that, or you could keep the gate where it is and have the instead of the park opening their little gate at their parking lot, have them open the gate way up the street where it has been for the past 45 years.
So who requested the vacation, the township trustees?
Brownhelm Township trustees, and I believe this has been through the mill once and it was approved, but because of Mr. Smith's pointing out technicality and that he had not received notification, we're going through the process a second time.
Close the hearing?
I think we ought to make a decision if we can agree on it.
Well, we've got two people that don't care either way, that it's affecting both their properties, so the people that want it aren't here. So,
However, I just think that I did, unfortunately, I didn't get to the viewing last year, the first time around, but I did attend with Mr. Maletti and saw this, and it's a beautiful area, but it's, I don't think there's any way that correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I think it would be the county's responsibility to put in any bridge there. Okay, so I don't see the county any time within my lifetime putting in a bridge back there. I don't think the Metro Parks is interested in a bridge back there, are you, Dan?
unless we give them the money to do it.
Well, I don't think you have the funds for a bridge back there. Do you have funds to put?
Commissioner, I would point out Metro Parks cannot legally spend money on a township or county road.
Okay, so, well, all right, that takes care of that. So, I mean, I don't think we have county funds to erect a bridge there, and I think this is a solution to a local problem that the Brownhelm Township trustees have asked us to address. And Mr. Smith has some questions, but I think that they can be worked out, don't you?
I hope.
Okay. With that being said, I will move that we approve the vacation as presented to us.
But
Don't we have to close the hearing first?
one final question.
Close the hearing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait before we close.
Go ahead.
What if we don't come up with a solution?
Then what we're doing,
Well, I guess I would like to come up with a solution before it's vacated, put it that way. I mean, before we do anything, we come up with a solution rather than do something and then later try to work on a solution. Because, as I said, I thought we had, Dane Linebaugh, the township trustee, I thought we had something we could work out, but then, my understanding, the park didn't like it, and so I guess I'd rather have a solution before we come up with the thing that's going to be cast in stone.
I don't know when the Brownhelm Township trustees meet.
Right down for the year.
No, that meeting in December.
Oh, okay.
You have one of their,
Not out here, no.
I do agree something needs to be done because Mr. Miller, on the other end, where Peasley comes out on Vermillion Road, gets people parking there and it drives them nuts, and I can understand why it would. And so I can see we have to do something, but particularly on his end, but I'm not confident or feel good about what we're doing on the other end yet.
Well, if we vacate this, from what I'm hearing, there's nothing the parks can do on a county road. But when it's no longer a county road, then I think it gives you a little bit more flexibility to maybe get some things done.
I hope.
Mr. Twining, you said you know when Brownhelm meets?
I was not sworn in. If you're
So you're answering a question.
I'm going to swear that what I'm saying is the truth. I happen to be meeting with Brownhelm Township at their next regular meeting, and that is on December 14th at 7 o'clock. That's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Or can you find a solution in 2 weeks? Because we can vote on it December 16th. And you can, and that's it, yeah, I'm talking to you, Mr. Smith. If you would like to go to the township trustee meeting,
I think, yeah, I think so, I hope something can be worked out.
okay. Well, we don't,
But as I said, I thought we had something worked out and then it seemed to disappear. If we're under adult supervision, I think we can.
yeah, I don't know about that. Why don't we, if it's okay with the Madam Chair, why don't we wait till the 16th to make a decision? And you have a couple weeks to work something out. How's that? Is that fine?
Yes, do we want someone from our county department to assist? If you're going to be there that night, Mr. Twining, are you going to be at their meeting that night?
Yes.
Well, he said he was going, that's why he knew it. So maybe you could assist with that decision? All right, I'll move this public hearing be closed.
Second?
Any further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
And you will carry this on the agenda for December 16th for a decision?
Under old business, yes.
Yes, okay. And Ron, you'll help us out, right? Thank you very much. Anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the board?
Shirley R. Johnson, Oberlin. I have a question. Would Mr. Moore please explain for our understanding his rationale for the difference between those items that he was willing to second and those he did not second?
Well, I'll try to get a motion to adjourn the meeting. I couldn't get a second, so preferably I was ready to not second any issues at that time.
I'm sorry, I can't quite understand what you're saying. Please repeat it.
We need to move this closer for you, or at least have you sit up here. Oh, mine's? Oh, it's me? No, I couldn't get a second to adjourn the meeting, so. And the reason why I started to look at some of these things needed to get done, so. I wasn't gonna hinder that, so.
When did you want to adjourn the meeting that you couldn't get a second for, so that you deferred any seconding for items?
I think it was on number 10 or 11?
Right after number 12.
Number 12?
Well, that really doesn't explain the rationale for some of the items that you were willing to second and some that you were not.
Because some of these issues can be resolved with the next Board of Commissioners, which was the rationale for number 9.
Only number 9 or for... There was no second on number 12, on number 13, on number 14, on number 17, on number 22, number 23, number 24, number 25, number 26. I think that's it.
Correct.
And that's because each one of those could be decided by the next meeting.
Correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to address the board? I move we adjourn.
No, she didn't second mine.
Well, we
I'll
can
second
stay,
it.
we can stay.
I'll second it.
Blair, aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.